Have you ever felt utterly lost in certain interactions, perhaps feeling diminished or invalidated, unsure how to respond or why it affects you so deeply? That internal conflict, that sense of being pulled in different directions, is a deeply human experience, often leaving us feeling powerless. If you've grappled with these unsettling dynamics, seeking not just solutions but understanding, you've come to the right place. The profound insights of Carl Jung offer a unique lens through which to view these challenges, not as simple external problems, but as intricate dances involving the deepest parts of ourselves. Together we'll explore Jung's perspective on the psyche and how understanding its layers, your ego, your shadow, and the powerful unconscious, can illuminate a path towards reclaiming your inner ground. Prepare for an exploration that promises not just strategies, but genuine clarity and transformation. When we talk about feeling lost or powerless, we're often experiencing the consequences of internal forces we don't fully understand. Carl Jung dedicated his life to mapping these inner territories, suggesting that our individual psyche is far more complex than just our conscious thoughts. Think of your ego. That's the part of you that identifies as I, the center of your conscious awareness, the part that makes plans, navigates daily life, and interacts with the external world. It's essential, the captain of the ship, but it's not the whole ship, nor the ocean it sails upon. Often in those difficult interactions, our ego feels threatened or overwhelmed. It might cling tightly to the persona, the social mask we wear, the roles we play to fit in or meet expectations. While the persona serves a purpose in social navigation, becoming overly identified with it can lead to a feeling of inauthenticity or fragility when that mask is challenged. But beneath the persona and alongside the ego lies a much vaster realm, the unconscious. The unconscious, in Jung's view, isn't just a dustbin for forgotten memories. It's a dynamic, living part of us, containing aspects we've disowned, desires we've suppressed, and universal patterns of human experience. This is where the shadow resides, the part of ourselves we deem unacceptable, the impulses, weaknesses, or even strengths we deny or reject. When we encounter someone who triggers a strong negative reaction in us, we might be seeing our own unacknowledged shadow projected onto them. This projection is a primary source of conflict and misunderstanding, leaving us feeling attacked or invalidated without fully grasping why. Understanding the shadow is crucial because integrating it is a vital step in the process of individuation, Jung's term for the lifelong journey towards becoming a whole, unique individual. Integrating the conscious and unconscious parts of the psyche. This path isn't about becoming perfect, but about becoming complete. The unconscious also holds deeper structures. The archetypes, universal patterns of behavior, images and symbols that shape our experiences and perceptions, influencing myths, religions, and our personal lives. Think of the hero, the mother, the trickster. These powerful forces silently influence our narratives and relationships. Jung also spoke of synchronicity, meaningful coincidences that seem to connect inner psychological states with outer events, suggesting a deeper interconnectedness beyond simple cause and effect. This, along with the exploration of dreams and symbols, the language of the unconscious, offers pathways into understanding the hidden dynamics at play within us and in our interactions. Paying attention to the symbols that appear in our dreams or daily lives can provide profound insights into the workings of our shadow, persona, or the influence of archetypes, offering clues for our individuation journey. These insights are not always comfortable, but they are essential for reclaiming power. By bringing these unconscious dynamics into awareness, we gain agency, rather than being swept away by them. When we understand that the disrespect we encounter often stems from the other person's own fractured state, perhaps a rigid persona covering deep insecurities, or a shadow projected onto us, we can depersonalize the attack somewhat. This is where our own ego comes into play. The ego is the center of our conscious mind, the part that navigates reality, makes choices, and interacts with the world. It's the I we identify with. Our persona is the aspect of the ego that we present to others, a necessary adaptation for social life. But if our ego is fragile, or our persona is overly invested in seeking approval, we become highly susceptible to external validation or criticism. Carl Jung taught that a healthy ego is crucial for engaging with the world, but it must eventually serve the greater purpose of the self, the totality of the psyche, the blueprint for wholeness that lies within the unconscious. The individuation process isn't just about understanding the shadow. It's also about strengthening the ego so it can mediate between the conscious and the vast, mysterious unconscious, and ultimately serve the self. When our sense of worth is anchored in the self, accessed through the difficult but rewarding work of individuation, the ego is less easily bruised. Disrespect directed at the persona or ego doesn't penetrate to our core. We can observe the behavior, recognizing perhaps the archetypes at play, the puer or puella aeternis, eternal child, refusing responsibility, the negative father or mother archetype manifesting as criticism, without internalizing it as a reflection of our own inadequacy. This doesn't mean becoming indifferent, but developing a robust inner container. Dreams can offer powerful symbols related to these interactions, showing us where we might be giving our power away or suggesting new ways to respond. Paying attention to recurring symbols in our dreams or daily life can unlock insights from the unconscious about the dynamics at play. Similarly, synchronicity, those meaningful coincidences, might provide external validation or guidance, confirming a path or highlighting a pattern we need to address. Understanding these Jungian principles helps us see the interaction not just as personal attack, but as a complex interplay of conscious and unconscious forces. It shifts our focus from trying to change the other person's behavior, which is often impossible, especially if their ego is brittle and their shadow is denied, to strengthening our own psychological foundation. We learn to recognize the shadow material being projected onto us and refuse to carry it. We see the persona they hide behind and choose not to engage solely with the mask, but also not to be wounded by the hidden insecurities. Anchoring ourselves in the awareness of the self provides a deep resilience. It allows us to respond from a place of inner authority, rather than react from a place of ego vulnerability or shadow defensiveness. This inner shift is profound. It changes the dynamic because we are no longer unconsciously participating in the pattern in the same way. By becoming more conscious of our own ego's reactions, our persona's habits, and our shadow's sensitivities, we reclaim our agency and step out of the dance they try to orchestrate. This doesn't mean the interactions suddenly become easy or painless. The narcissist's ego is still fragile, and their shadow still potent in their actions. But our internal landscape changes. When they try to invalidate us, instead of our ego collapsing or our shadow lashing out, we can witness the behavior. We see it as a manifestation of their deep-seated insecurity, perhaps linked to wounded archetypes within their own unconscious. Their attempts to diminish us are less about our actual worth and more about their desperate need to feel powerful to compensate for an internal emptiness. This perspective, rooted in the insights of Carl Jung, fundamentally alters our approach. We stop arguing with their reality and start strengthening our own. Our own individuation process becomes the priority. We learn to discern ourself from their projections. Their persona, designed to impress or intimidate, loses its hold when we are grounded in our own authenticity. We understand that engaging deeply with their manufactured persona is often a trap, leading us further away from the genuine interaction we crave, but which they are incapable of offering from their current state. Setting boundaries in this Jungian light is not an act of aggression, but an act of self-preservation and differentiation. It's stating, "This is where I end and you begin," without needing to justify it to their demanding ego or react to their guilt-tripping shadow tactics. These boundaries arise from the strength of the self, not the fear of the ego or the anger of the shadow. They are clear markers drawn in the sand of the relationship dynamic. When we establish these boundaries from a place of inner calm and certainty, the narcissist often escalates initially because their accustomed methods of control are failing. This is a critical point where our understanding and resilience are tested. It's easy to get pulled back into the old pattern, letting our ego be hooked or our shadow provoked. But by staying connected to ourself, we can observe their escalation without internalizing it. We recognize it as a reaction from their own wounded place. Paying attention to our dreams during this time can offer vital support and insight. The symbols that emerge might represent our struggle, our strength, or potential escape routes. Similarly, a sense of synchronicity, perhaps encountering resources or people who reinforce our newfound perspective, or noticing meaningful coincidences that confirm we are on the right path, can provide external validation for the difficult internal work we are doing. This ongoing dialogue between our conscious efforts and the deeper wisdom of the unconscious is crucial for navigating such challenging relationships and continuing our individuation journey. It's a process of continually integrating aspects of our own shadow that might be triggered, refining our persona so it serves rather than hinders us, and strengthening the central core of the self, which is the ultimate source of resilience according to Carl Jung. This journey of self-discovery, illuminated by understanding archetypes and symbols, transforms the problem of dealing with a narcissist into a catalyst for profound personal growth, provided we choose to focus inward rather than solely on the external behavior. Provided we choose to focus inward rather than solely on the external behavior. This is precisely where the power of the phrase "A partir de hoje, cansei de ter esse tipo de conversa com você" resides. It's not merely a sentence spoken aloud, it's a declaration of an internal shift that has already occurred. By articulating this boundary, you are asserting the growing strength of yourself against the old patterns driven by the ego and the unconscious dynamics at play. This phrase fundamentally alters the landscape because it withdraws your participation from the dysfunctional dance. It ceases to engage the other person's persona and refuses to be ensnared by the triggers that provoke your own shadow. It says, "I am no longer available for this particular interaction pattern." This is a profound act of individuation. You are separating your energy, your peace, and your psychological space from the entanglement. It's a move guided not by the reactive ego seeking to win or be right, but by the deeper wisdom of the self-seeking wholeness and health. When you make this declaration, grounded in that internal resolve, you are acting from a different place. You are not trying to make them change, which is often the futile goal of the ego in conflict. Instead, you are changing your own response, your own availability, and your own boundaries. This recalibration is felt, often on an unconscious level, even if the other person consciously rages against it. They are being met with a new reality, one that doesn't feed the archetypes they are operating from in that moment. The symbols of the relationship begin to change. Their reaction might be intense. It might trigger old fears or push against the limits of your persona. Their ego, accustomed to the old dynamic, may escalate. Their shadow side might lash out, feeling the loss of control or the challenge to their established patterns. This is where staying connected to yourself is paramount. You observe their reaction not as a failure of your boundary, but as a predictable response from their own psychological structure. Understanding the concept of the unconscious helps us here. Their response often isn't a calculated attack as much as it is a deeply ingrained, often unconscious defense mechanism. Your new boundary disrupts this mechanism, and the initial reaction can be chaotic. Paying attention to your dreams during this period can offer valuable insight into your own unconscious processing of this shift. Are there symbols of release, of struggle, of new structures being built? These provide vital feedback. Furthermore, keep an eye out for synchronicity. As you commit to this path of individuation, you might notice meaningful coincidences or external events that seem to support your efforts or confirm you are moving in the right direction. Carl Jung saw synchronicity as a causal connecting principles, suggesting a deeper order at play that resonates with our inner psychological state. Finding external validation through such moments can strengthen your resolve when facing the inevitable pushback from the old dynamic. This process is less about managing them and more about mastering yourself, integrating your shadow aspects that are triggered, refining your persona to serve your authentic self, and allowing that central core to guide your interactions. Your stability, rooted in yourself, acts as a mirror they cannot easily distort. Carl Jung emphasized the importance of consciousness facing the unconscious. Your conscious choice to maintain your boundary forces a moment where their unconscious patterns are starkly visible, even if they immediately react by trying to blind the mirror. This disruption can manifest in various ways: increased intensity, attempts to pull others into the dynamic, sudden shifts in behavior, often temporary. These are symbols of their inner turmoil. They are confronting their own powerlessness, their lack of genuine connection, the emptiness behind the persona they have so carefully constructed. Your psychological sovereignty demonstrates that you are no longer available to play the role they cast you in within their internal drama, a drama often driven by unconscious archetypes like the victim, persecutor, or rescuer. This isn't about making them change or forcing their individuation journey. You cannot control another person's path. It's about claiming your own internal space, your own self-authority. By refusing to engage the ego games, you highlight the futility of their tactics. Their shadow aspects, which they project outward to avoid confronting themselves, find no comfortable resting place on your stable self. This forces a confrontation with their own disowned parts, their fears, their insecurities. It's a painful moment for them, as it challenges the very foundation of their ego structure. Your task remains anchored in your own inner world. Continue paying attention to your dreams for insights into your own emotional landscape and the processing of this dynamic. What symbols appear? Are they pointing towards liberation or lingering internal conflict? Notice any synchronicity that confirms you are staying true to yourself and your path of individuation. This is the path of integrating your own shadow, understanding your own archetypal patterns, and ensuring your persona serves your authentic self, not some external expectation or the demands of another's ego. Your psychological sovereignty is not a weapon used against them. It's a state of being, a quiet power that shifts the entire dynamic simply by being anchored in your authentic self. You are not trying to fix their unconscious. You are simply living from your own integrated center, allowing their reaction to be information about their own internal state, rather than a destabilizing force for your own. This understanding, rooted in the principles Carl Jung explored, offers a framework for navigating these complex relationships with clarity and preserving your inner peace. By embodying this boundary, you are not just setting a limit, you are enacting a profound psychological truth about self-respect and autonomy and authenticity. It signifies a deep internal decision, a psychological purpose that resonates through your being. When you attempt to set a boundary with words alone, but your internal state still holds the energy of hope, fear, or the desire for validation, the narcissist, or anyone attuned, consciously or unconsciously to subtle energetic cues, will sense the incongruence. Carl Jung understood that the unconscious communicates not just through symbols and dreams, but through felt energy, an atmosphere around a person. Your ego might be speaking the script of disengagement. Your carefully constructed persona might be calm and composed. But if your unconscious energy is still heavily invested, still seeking connection or validation, or still gripped by the shadow of past wounds, that's the signal that gets transmitted. This is why the psychological purpose is paramount. It's about aligning your words with your inner truth, with a genuine energetic withdrawal from the fruitless dynamic. It's about the self asserting its sovereignty over the ego's impulses to re-engage in the familiar, painful pattern. Achieving this congruence requires profound self-awareness, an understanding of your own shadow aspects that might be getting hooked, and the archetypal patterns playing out. Are you unconsciously enacting a rescuer archetype, a victim, or perhaps a pleaser persona? Recognizing these underlying drivers, often illuminated by insights from your dreams and the symbols that appear within them, is crucial work. The individuation journey demands that you confront these parts of yourself, bringing them into consciousness so they no longer unconsciously dictate your energetic investment. When your energy truly shifts, when the unconscious is no longer fueling the desire to engage or seeking something from the other person, the external interaction fundamentally changes. It's not about making them understand or change. It's about changing your own energetic equation. This internal shift, this embodiment of psychological purpose, becomes palpable. It communicates the boundary far more effectively than any perfectly worded phrase spoken from a place of internal conflict. Synchronicity might even show up as subtle confirmations that you are aligning with your authentic self and withdrawing your energy from unproductive avenues. Perhaps you encounter resources or meet people who reinforce this path just when you need it. A meaningful coincidence that Jung described as synchronicity. This energetic reclamation isn't passive. It's an active process of integrating your psyche, honoring the wisdom of your unconscious, and ensuring your persona is a genuine reflection of yourself, not a shield or a performance designed to navigate another's ego. The energy previously tied up in trying to fix, please, or fight is now available for your own life, your own healing, your own growth, accelerating your individuation. Ultimately, reclaiming your energy is the most potent form of communication, an act of radical self-authorship on your journey of individuation. It's not about fixing the other person's ego or persona, but integrating your own shadow and unconscious material, interpreting your dreams and symbols for guidance and aligning with your authentic self, a process championed by Carl Jung and often marked by meaningful synchronicity. This challenging but rewarding work liberates vital energy for your true growth. How has understanding your own psychological energy impacted your relationships? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you consider yourself a deep thinker ready to explore the depths of the unconscious and the path to individuation, be sure to subscribe and activate notifications so you don't miss future insights.